some offers on these items. Now, I've never seen so many cigar store Indians in one place, but Suzanne, I have just one thing that I need to tell you. Okay.
What?
If anywhere in the apartment you see anything that says, made in Cuba, Mike has given me strict instructions. You are to confiscate it, bring it back to the apartment, and he will personally burn it. Destroy it by fire, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And Craig says, our stage manager, he says he'll help him as well.
Oh, okay. How nice of them. Yes, I'm here with Mark Goldman. He's got this amazing collection of over 60 cigar store Indians and other characters. I have to tell you, it's a little weird to be in here. I would worry that at nighttime, to have 60 pairs of eyes on you, do they ever seem to come to life to you?
Oh, they're always alive.
They are? Do they talk to you?
Only I can hear them, Suzanne.
So tell me, what was the purpose of cigar store Indians way back when?
The cigar store Indians were trade signs, and basically what they were used for was to tell anybody out there what was in the store. Not everybody was able to read in the 1850s, 1860s, and basically the image of the cigar store Indian told them immediately what was in the store. It was basically the equivalent of a barber pole.
Or the mortar and pestle you said for a pharmacy.
Druggist, a lock and key for a locksmith.
Right. Now, how do you tell how valuable one of these pieces is? For example, this didn't look like this when you first got it,
No,
correct?
this was bought at auction, and when I got it, it had 30 or 40 layers of paint that were painted each season over the original paint. And when we bought it, we look at it and we say, gee, we look at the style of the carving, the detail of the carving. Sometimes we can recognize the carver by his style, because they did tend to repeat the styles.
And I understand you paid, what, $5,000
I paid approximately $5,000 at auction.
And what's it worth now?
After the restoration, and through a little bit of luck, because the original paint was still fairly intact, it's worth in the range of about $20,000 to $25,000.
Mark,
amazing,
excuse
Claire?
me, but when you bought it,
Yes.
did you have any idea that it would be worth that much more after it's restored?
Claire, we take a chance when we buy it sometimes. We take a guess at how well the paint surfaces on it when we get it, and we're guessing at what's underneath it. Until you actually start taking it down, you have no idea.
So you've had some pretty good gambles. You've taken some good risks here.
Some work, some don't.
Actually, Claire, this is an example of a piece that looks a little more weathered. It doesn't look like it's in as great shape, so it's probably not as valuable, correct?
No, this one wouldn't be as valuable. This is probably worth in the range of $7,000 to $10,000. We look at it, we decided that there's a lot of damage that's you can see, and we figured it's not worth the chance of trying to take it down, because we don't think what we find will enhance it in any great degree.
Now, there's a great story behind this piece, Claire. I noticed that this Indian is carrying a rose instead of carrying the cigars. Why is that?
This one is by Rob. It's an old paint. The rose was done by Rob after his first wife died, and it was basically a memorial to her. He had carved roses on the tombstone of his first wife, and all the pieces done after that time by him, the female versions, held a rose rather than the typical cigars.
So this was in memory of his wife.
Right.
It makes it more valuable, right?
It makes it more valuable, and it helps us date it.
Now, also, he doesn't just have cigar store Indians. This is a baseball player.
This is by the same workshop, by the Rob Workshop. The baseball player wasn't as prevalent as the Indian, but what happened is in the towns where every cigar store had an Indian, somebody wanted to differentiate. He would make it a baseball player or any other figure. There's a lot of different figures that we use.
I think he kind of looks like Dwight Evans from the Boston Red Sox, but this is not modeled after a particular player, is it?
Certainly not after Dwight Evans.
I love Dwight Evans. Now, Claire, I want you to know also that this is not just an American tradition. This, for example, is a Scottish Highlander, correct?
This is a Scottish Highlander. It's for a snuff shop, for Scottish snuff. This one came out of Perth in Scotland. And the figure's holding a mull which held snuff.
This is the mull right here.
Right, and he's about to take a pinch of snuff. And this told everybody that inside was a snuff shop. Snuff shops being much more popular than tobacconist shops at that time and in that place. This is the equivalent in an American snuff shop piece. Never as popular in America as it was in Europe and England. But a much larger version, where the small version would be set on a counter, this would actually be outside the store or in a front window. And he immediately told the people, hey guys, inside the snuff.
Suzanne, Susie
Yes,
wants to know
Claire.
what's underneath the kilt.
Oh, what's underneath the kilt? That's a secret. The Scottish people would not want us to know that.
Well, you know what I'm finding interesting is the idea that these are the cigar store figures, but I wonder in this day and age of political correctness how Native American Indians feel about the cigar store Indians.
They didn't always depict a Native American. This was usually most carvings were done on the East Coast, and this is what the East Coast carver thought an American looked like or should look like. Few Indians, as far as I know, take offense to it. It was something that was used commercially at the time, and surely at the time they didn't take offense, but in today's new modern world, people can take offense at a lot of things.
Well, it's a very interesting collection. What I like is, I think you have like 60 of them. You need the right kind of space to add 60 people. They're the size of people.
Yeah, it makes for like an ongoing party.
Well, thank you for sharing your party with us. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Interesting collection, yes. And I'm glad you asked what was under the kilt. Well, inquiring minds want to know.
She didn't even blush. I can't believe it.
And neither did the figure as well.